Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the physiology of respiratory respiration. In this class, we are going to see what is how the inhalation and expiration process goes on. What is pulmonary ventilation? Coming to pulmonary ventilation, Boyle's law. Gas pressure in a closed container is inversely proportional to the volume of container. Boyle's law applies here also in, in case of lungs. Pressure differences and airflow. What are all the pressures? Atmospheric pressure, that is 760 mm Hg, 630 mm Hg heat inside the lungs. Intrapleural pressure 756 mm Hg. The pressure between pleural layers. Intrapulmonary pressure varies. Pressure inside lungs. Here, due to pressure differences, air will be flowing. Atmospheric pressure is there, intrapleural pressure is there, and pressure between the intrapleural means pressure between the pleural layers. Here, lungs. After coming to respiratory tract, external nostrils, internal nostrils. After it will enter into nasopharynx, next into trachea. That trachea will be again divided into two parts and it will enter into left and right lung. Right lung consists of three parts. Left lung consists of two parts. Here, this is first primary bronchi, again divided into secondary bronchi into tertiary bronchi to alveoli. This is the, in this coming to this diagram, parietal pleura, this is pleural cavity, visceral pleura, these are lungs. In pleural cavity, lungs are located. Here, we can, this is esophagus beside windpipe, posterior mediastinum. This is left lung, parietal pleura, pleural cavity, visceral pleura. This is pericardium, parietal pericardium. This is heart, sternum, right primary bronchus, right pulmonary artery, right pulmonary vein, pulmonary trunk, visceral pericardium, anterior mediastinum. Inspiration, that is inhalation. In this process, diaphragm and intercostal muscles help. Increases the volume in thoracic cavity as the intercostal muscles contract. Volume of lungs increases. Intrapulmonary pressure decreases by 758 mmHg. In this diagram, we can see PB is barometric air pressure, then PA is alveolar pressure. Here PB is equal to 0 when it is coming inside the lung. P alveolar pressure also 0. PB and PLB both are same at the end of expiration. No air movement. In coming to this, PB is equal to 0. During inspiration, PB is greater than alveolar pressure. Air moves inside. Alveolar pressure is -1. Here, because of intercostal muscles and diaphragm contraction, increased thoracic volume result in increase in alveolar volume and decreased in alveolar pressure. Barometric pressure is greater than alveolar pressure and air moves into the lungs. Due to the difference in the pressure, when during inspiration, barometric pressure is greater and alveolar pressure is less. Due to this pressure difference, air goes inside into the lungs. Coming to the vertebra. Here, this is vertebra, lateral increase in volume. This is sternum, and this is lateral view and this is anterior. Because of intercostal muscles contraction only, alveolar volume will be increased. Expiration or exhalation. Here, in inhalation, muscles will be contracting, but in this expiration, muscles relax. Due to the relaxation of muscles, volume of thoracic cavity decreases and volume of lungs also decreases. In here, in inspiration, intrapulmonary pressure decreases. In expiration, intrapulmonary pressure increases. Forced expiration is active. Here, PB is equal to again, barometric pressure is 0, no air movement, and pressure of alveoli also 0. Here, PB is equal to 0 during expiration. It will be reverse in expiration. Here, pressure of alveoli will be greater than barometric pressure. So, pressure of alveoli equal to 1. Alveolar volume decreases, diaphragm releases, decrease in the thoracic volume results in decreased alveolar volume and increased alveolar pressure. Alveolar pressure is greater than barometric air pressure and the air moves out of the lungs. In this diagram, again, volume of breath, 4 seconds time. Here, atmospheric pressure, how it happens, inspiration or inhalation and exhalation. Here, intrapulmonary pressure and transpulmonary pressure, intrapleural pressure. In expiration, exhalation, intrapleural pressure is increased. In inspiration, it is decreased. That is only showing in this diagram. In this, what happens? This is the intercostal muscles. We can see sterno. End of expiration, muscles of inspiration, pectoralis minor, external intercostal muscle, diaphragm. This is the diaphragm. End of inspiration, labored breathing, additional muscles contract, causing the additional expansion of the thorax. Abdominal muscles relax, diaphragm contracts, increase in the superior inferior dimension of the thoracic cavity. Factors which influence the pulmonary airflow. Diameter of airways, especially bronchioles, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, or neurosecretions will affect the influence of the pulmonary airflow. Surface tension also affects. Surface tension, coming to surface tension, lung collapse. Surface tension tends to oppose alveoli expansion. Pulmonary surfactant reduces surface tension. So, surface tension increases, lungs will collapse. Coming to this, smooth muscles, alveoli, C-shaped structures. These are capillaries, elastic fibers. Lung volumes and capacities. Tidal volume. Tidal volume is 500 milliliter. Respiratory rate will be 12 breaths per minute. Minute respiratory volume will be 6000 milliliters per minute. In this diagram, we can clearly see how on x-axis time is and on the y-axis volume. Maximum inspiration, then it will be 6000, near to 6000. It slowly goes from 2000, then 3000, next slowly it jumps to 6000, and in expiration this graph will fall down like this. Again this graph goes up in inspiration. In this, residual volume will be 1200 ml and expiratory reserve volume will be 1100 ml. Tidal volume will be 500 ml and inspiratory reserve volume is 3000 ml. Coming to lung volume and capacities, expiratory reserve volume is 1200 and 800 milliliters. Residual volume is 1200 milliliters. Functional residual capacity, that is air left in lungs after exhaling the tidal volume widely. This is also same diagram. Maximum inspiration 6000, same residual volume will be 12,000, expiratory reserve 1100 ml, inspiratory reserve volume will be 3000. Lung volumes and capacities. Vital capacity. Vital capacity, then that is IRV and tidal volume, expiratory residual volume, inspiratory residual volume is equal to 4700 milliliters. Maximum amount of air that can be moved in and out of the lungs. Total lung capacity is 5900 and 4400. Dead air volume will be 150 ml. Air not in alveoli. Again the same diagram. 1000 volume on y-axis, time, maximum inspiration, it will go up to 6000, and maximum expiration, it will come down to 1000. Residual volume, that is RV, is 1200 ml. Then ERV is 1100 ml. Expiratory reserve volume, tidal volume will be 3000. Alveolar ventilation capacity is alveolar is equal to 4200 milliliters per minute. If double RR, residual reserve alveolar ventilation, that is equal to 8400 ml per minute. Matching alveolar airflow with blood flow. Pulmonary vessels can constrict in areas where oxygen flow is low. Respiratory passageways. Airways can dilate where carbon dioxide levels are high. Gas exchange. Partial pressure. Each gas in atmosphere contributes to the entire atmospheric pressure, denoted as P. Gases in liquid. Gas enters liquid and dissolves in proportion to its partial pressure. Oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange by diffusion. Partial pressure of oxygen, that is PO2, is 105 mmHg in alveoli and 40 in alveolar capillaries. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 45 in alveolar capillaries and 40 in alveoli. Partial pressures. Oxygen is 21% of atmosphere, that is 760 mmHg into 20.221, that is equal to 160 mmHg, that is partial pressure of oxygen. This mixes with old air already present in alveolus to arrive at PO2 105 mmHg. Carbon dioxide is 0.03 to 0.04% in the atmosphere. So 760 mmHg into 0.04, that is equal to 0.3 mmHg PCO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide. This mixes with high carbon dioxide levels from residual volume in the alveoli to arrive at PCO2 of 40 mmHg. This is alveolar epithelium wall, and this is respiratory membrane, alveolar fluid, alveolar epithelium, basement membrane of alveolar epithelium, basement membrane of capillary endothelium, diffusion of carbon dioxide, that is blue in color, this one, and diffusion of oxygen, red in color, this is RBCs. Gases exchange, mainly oxygen transport will be about 97% of oxygen is transported by means of RBCs. Only 1 to 3% of oxygen is transported through plasma, because RBC having respiratory pigment hemoglobin. Hemoglobin having the binding capacity to oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin entering into tissue. Before entering into tissues, again it will dissociate into hemoglobin and oxygen. Dissociated oxygen will be used by the are taken by the tissues. In this diagram, how it goes, what happens to inspired air and what happens to expired air. Gases transport. Hemoglobin, it will bind to or saturate 4 oxygen molecules. PO2 is the most important factor determining whether oxygen and hemoglobin combine or dissociate. Oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. Partial pressure of oxygen on x-axis and hemoglobin saturation on y-axis. This is shows in this graph oxygen dissociation will be known. If the oxygen dissociation curve moves to right side, that will be called as Bohr effect. Here in this diagram we can see 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 105. In resting tissues, hemoglobin releases some oxygen, which is like partially emptying the glass. Entering into the tissues, hemoglobin saturated with oxygen in the lungs is like a nearly full glass. This oxygen dissociation curve moves from left to right. This was first discovered by Bohr, so-called Bohr effect. In this diagram, we can clearly see partial pressure, hemoglobin saturation, 20, 40, 60, 80, and the volume of oxygen uploaded to tissues. Bohr effect will be influenced by four factors. Those are concentration of partial pressure of oxygen, concentration of carbon dioxide, high temperature, and low pH. Bohr effect will be influenced by low pH, high concentration of carbon dioxide, high temperature, and diphosphoglycerate. In this diagram, you can see how the curve shifts to right, how the pH decreases, concentration of carbon dioxide increases, and temperature increases. These two diagrams show when the concentration of carbon dioxide and temperature is increased and pH is decreased, how this oxygen dissociation curve shifts from left to right. Here, increased uptake of oxygen in lungs. Decreased carbon dioxide, normal arterial carbon dioxide, that is 40 mmHg, and increased carbon dioxide 80 mmHg. How the graph goes, we can see here. Carbon dioxide transport. Oxygen is transported by RBCs and plasma. Then coming to carbon dioxide transport, 7% of carbon dioxide is transported by means of plasma, 23% of carbon dioxide in the form of carbamino compounds, in which carbon dioxide is bound to the globin part of hemoglobin, and 70% as bicarbonate. As we all know, carbonic acid is a weak acid, so it immediately dissociates into hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion. This process will be speed up by the enzyme called carbonic anhydrase. In the presence of carbonic anhydrase, dissociation of carbonic acid into hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion is very high. Chloride shift. In this, chloride shift to compensate for bicarbonate moving in and out of RBC. What is chloride shift? Chloride shift is exchange of bicarbonate and chloride ions between RBC and plasma is called, in the presence of chloride ions, is called chloride shift. This phenomena also called as Hamburger phenomena. Here, not only in this diagram, carbon dioxide produced. This is capillary wall, red blood cell, carbon dioxide plus H2O, carbonic acid, bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion, plasma. From plasma, chloride ions are going inside and bicarbonate ions are coming out. The exchange of chloride and bicarbonate ions between plasma and RBCs is called chloride shift. Controls of respiration. Respiration is controlled by medulla, medullary rhythmicity area. Medullary inspiratory neurons are main control of breathing. Pons neurons influence inspiration with pneumotoxic area limiting inspiration and epineuristic area prolonging inspiration. Lung stretch receptors limit the inspiration from being too deep. Medulla is the respiratory control organ. In this, again, pons neurons influence inspiration, pneumotoxic area limiting inspiration and epineuristic area prolonging inspiration. Lung stretch receptors limit inspiration from being too deep. Medullary expiratory neurons only active with exercise and post expiration. Controls of respiration. In this diagram, we can see phrenic nerve to diaphragm, intercostal muscles involved in expiration, intercostal nerves, intercostal muscles, external intercostal muscles. This is diaphragm involved in inspiration, Pontine respiratory group. This is brain, pons neurons, dorsal respiratory group, ventral respiratory group, medulla oblongata, medullary respiratory center. Controls of rate and depth of respiration. Arterial partial pressure oxygen PO2. When PO2 is very low, ventilation increases. Arterial PCO2, the most important regulator of ventilation. Small increases in PCO2 greatly increases ventilation. Arterial pH. As hydrogen ions increase, alveolar ventilation increases, but hydrogen ions cannot diffuse into CSF as well as CO2. Exercise. Neural signals, rate and depth, PCO2, cardiac while doing exercise, cardiac output also changes. Maximal hemoglobin saturation, dilate airways. Source internet. From internet some of the diagrams are taken. Thank you.